Welcome to the Divine Mess, a sanctuary where the dance of the empowered masculine and the divine feminine unfolds in all its glory. Join us as we delve into the heart of these cosmic energies, exploring their attributes and the profound impact they have on our lives. From the raw power of the masculine to the nurturing embrace of the feminine, we uncover the balance that leads to a life of abundance and joy. Our hosts, Curdy Deva Perriman and Tina Ryan, are your guides on this spiritual journey who blend science with soul to offer practical wisdom for harnessing your divine energy. We celebrate the beauty and imperfection, embracing the chaos of life's journey as a catalyst for growth. The Divine Mess isn't just a podcast, it's a movement towards wholeness and self-expression. So come laugh with us, cry with us, and grow with us. Every episode is an invitation to explore the depths of your being and to live out loud, authentically, and unapologetically. Subscribe and join our community of seekers as we support each other in this extraordinary, messy adventure we call life. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from. You have stumbled into the Divine Mess, and today we are reflecting on 2024. But before we get started with all of that, some introductions I think might be necessary. If this is the first time that you have happened to choose to listen to us, my name is Tina Marie and I'm an intuitive prophet, and I help people guide. Oh, sorry, start again. I haven't had the coffee this morning. I help guide people through their transformation so that they can see the true light of their souls. It's a little bit like when my friend said he tries to turn love into love. But he'll get to that bit in a minute. My dear friend and I have been on the Divine Mess journey for, well, we're coming up for nearly 2 years now, over 90 episodes, which I think puts us in the old timers category for having a podcast. But every episode is just pure gold, because we get to talk about the things that we love. So without further ado, I will pass you over to my gorgeous co-host, Mr. Curdy David Perryman, and he can introduce himself.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you, Tina, for, well, for a lot of things. I can start on that, but let's go back to me. So for the first time listeners, I'm Deva, also known as Deva. I come from Mauritius, but I'm living in New Zealand at the moment, and I'm neighbor to Tina, and she's coming next year, she said, to do the bungee jump. And we have been following that.
Something like that, my darling. So if someone
And
wants
that's the
to,
intention for 2025.
and New Zealand can put me in first class and send me across to you, well, then I will be more than graciously happy to accept that.
And then we say thank you to Air New Zealand for sponsoring this valuable episode now. And
Exactly. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
so I'm a cosmic alchemist who help people to transmute their fear into love and navigate through the divine mess as well. Like every single week, we have been sharing couch just to have fun conversation about woo-woo stuff. And we had so much fun. Like we have over 80 episodes now that we have been recording, and it's like consecutive week, more than 80 consecutive week that we have been showing up and just doing the recording. And we are excited about the coming year because we have more guests coming in, some that you have listened before, but you will see their transformation, what they have gone through, and how they have evolved, just like we did. So we thought that we'll do a quick fire for today, quick fire episode of just under 30 minutes, if we can manage that. Of course, we can't
Can only but
guarantee that.
try.
Yeah, we are just going to surrender to the flow, but we know that at the moment of the recording, like Tina is like burning hot over there in Perth because they are going to hit the high temperatures. So she's going to become like the red lobster, like I love to nickname.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Yes.
Hopefully not. So I suppose today is a good point in time, considering we're nearing the end of the year. And last night, I do believe, was a full moon. So it's a good time to let go of the things that have come across our paths in 2024. And we have both traversed some big stuff, I think, is
Yeah.
a good way of looking at it. Hundreds and hundreds of hours of personal development
Mm.
and I think spiritual growth, but just a comfort, reached a comfort point, I think, which is a good thing and a bad thing, to actually who we are and who we are designed to be in this suit that we've chosen in this particular lifetime. And, you know, the ups and downs with, well, from my perspective, 4 boys and my partner and career movements and things that have changed. There's just been so much. Like it's endeavoring to find, for me, I think the biggest thing was personal development this year and really getting to a point where for the last probably 3 or 4 years, thinking there was a role for me to play in what I wanted to do in being able to help people, but I could never quite articulate it in a way that people went, oh, I get what you do. And it's only really, I think, been in the last month that I went, oh, God, that's so easy and it's so simple. But I think because when your ego gets in and you're endeavoring to match or mimic or mirror somebody else's success or the way in which they run their business, when you're not honoring your own true self, then it never comes together properly. Like it'll come in fits and starts because you'll have moments of brilliance, but there's never a true ease and flow and grace to what it is. But now there has been a real clear line in the sand for me in terms of closing down the business that I had and the business name that took such a long time for me to come to grips with, and the money and the everything that I invested into it for websites and logo design and branding and all of that sort of stuff. And now it's like I'm working on the progress, not perfection, because I truly thought in my head I needed to have all of those things to be a successful mentor and a successful coach and being successful in life, but I didn't. You know, that was just ego trying to put blocks in the way, I feel, of truly being good at what I do, instead of just going, well, this is me. Like, here's my bank account details. If you want to come work with me, here you go. I didn't need to have the funnel and the processes and the fancy email send outs and any of those sorts of things. It's just, this is me. I do 30-minute sessions. I'm going to run a group accountability, you know, subscription model for people to come and jump in, $10 a week, where you can just jump in and tell us what your big goals and dreams are. And, you know, like we hold you accountable, but I'm not dragging people to come and drink the Kool-Aid, so to speak. Like if you want to come and take the red pill and understand your own divinity instead of feeling like you need to measure up to everybody on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and whatever platform you choose to follow. If you want to march to the beat of your own drum, then maybe I'm the right person for you, but maybe I'm not. But for me, moving forward into 2025, vision of you will be my focus, apart from my 9 to 5, which I truly love. Like I have truly fallen in love with what I do because I finally realized that it aligns with my values. And when you have a level of acceptance that this role does give me the connection, it gives me the experiences, it gives me the ability to travel to my place of employment every single day. It gets me to speaking with all sorts of beautiful people who are in love with love. Like, it's just amazing. I get to work with some of the earth's most beautiful natural resources, through the creativity of one amazing human. I get to help her in her business, but at the same time, I get to help me because I'm growing and doing all the things that, are important for me. And I'm using that at the moment as a platform, but also with the intention to grow my own concepts on the side at the same time. But I'm getting to utilize all the tools, all the skills, everything that I have learnt this year and over the past 20 years, getting to apply that. So that for me and for my staff, I think is a win. When you get to not be constantly looking outside of yourself for validation and for keys to success. When listening to Neville Goddard this morning and the power of I am statements and realizing that is me. Like, I am the personification of God, consciousness, the divine, however you would like to put it. I don't need to look outside myself. I don't need to look to my partner to be validated. I don't need to look to my children to be validated. I don't need to look to my staff or my friends or my family to be validated. I do that for myself. And it's a strange, really calm space when you get to that point where you can just go, oh, everything fell away in my life, I know I would be okay. I know that I could pull myself back together. I know that I could create a life again if I needed to. But that also then gives me a great level of gratitude and appreciation for what I have managed to create in this lifetime so far, the wins and the losses, and the money gained and the money lost, and the friendships gained and lost, because really nothing's been lost. It's just been transformed into something else. Like, that's just how energy works. And for me at the moment, I'm having a great deal of appreciation for the small circle of friends that I have, and not seeking to have a mass amount of people in my life unless it's from a client point of view. Then I'm more than happy to help anybody that wants to tread their own path and listen to their own tune, and be okay if people don't recognize you anymore when you start to walk that path. And it can be quite disconcerting and upsetting at the time, but they have a vision or a version of you in their minds that you just don't marry with anymore. And that's okay. Like, you can love them from a distance and you can wish them all the best things in the world, but you don't necessarily have to have them sitting at your dinner table every night. It's an interesting process when you draw a rectangle on a piece of paper and you put 12 chairs, and you get to choose who those 11 people are sitting with you at that table. And they will interchange. Some will stay for a lifetime and some won't. But I think it's an important exercise for you to have a look at the people that are currently sitting at your table. Are they helping you to grow and expand and to become a greater version of yourself? Or are they the people that are wanting to keep you in the past
in an old version of yourself that kind of feels like a pair of jeans that are a struggle to put on, and they're a struggle to zip up, and you've got to lay on your bed and you've got to hold your belly in to try and get the button done up, that it just, there's no ease about the relationships. But was listening to something this morning that said that when you're in a relationship, the version of you that you become with that person when the relationship ends, that's what you mourn. It's not necessarily the person that you were with, it's the version of who you were in that relationship that you mourn. But the problem is, most people don't recognize that they can still be that version without that person, because it was the level of love that they had for themselves that was so overflowing that it overflowed into that other person or that group of people. But you can still find that within yourself. And I think for me this year, my big key takeaways were, I am perfect just as I am. And if there is something that I feel dis-ease about, I have the power to create something different. A pill, a lotion, a potion is not going to change it. The thing that needs to change is me. I am the one common denominator in the relationship. I am the one common denominator in my career, in my finances. It all boils down to me. So if I want to see change, I have to be change. I have to be transformation, I think is a better word. Like, most people utilize change and think about it like the coins in the bottom of their pocket. I think transformation is a much better word for it. And I think both of us have undergone massive transformation this year, if only if it's to become more comfortable with who we are meant to be. And we're now both taking advice from our future selves and not our past selves. And I think they're the most intelligent people to take advice from, because they're already living the life that we desire to have. So if they're pointing us to opportunities and to people, then they're the people that we need to take advice from, not the people that haven't fulfilled their own dreams or haven't seen the success that they want to see. The only people we need to take advice from is us. Or, very close friends who will slap you up this backside of the head and give you a kick in the butt and tell you you're wallowing in your old personification. Those friends, they're good friends to have. And I've got a few of those, one including my co-host. So that's my boil down in 15 minutes of the things that I have taken away this year. And as much as it comes up in every episode, surrender has become my friend. Truly, I never, ever thought that I would ever, ever, ever say it. But if things are not moving in my life with ease and grace, I just let go and go. Divine timing for the highest good of all. If this is meant to happen, it will. So that is my very quick wrap up of 2024. How about you, Mr. David?
Well, I was thinking and feeling, how can I follow that? And thank you for the divine. You say surrender, and I think that's we joke about it every single episode about surrender. But for me, that's one of the biggest takeaways since we started the podcast, I would say, because it keeps coming up, coming up, this word. And I realized, like, this year as well, is not just this year. For me, it's like throughout my life and other Paul's life as well. It's that letting go, not trying to control every nitty gritty details of things. Whatever I can control, I do that. And for me now, I reach a stage where I understood that, I mean, my understanding until now is because I've been asking, like when you watch on Instagram or on Facebook, you have different version of how to achieve your goal, how to manifest your goal. And there's a lot of teachers out there. And it's not to say one is good or the other is bad, because they did whatever worked for them and it worked for in their own. So I realized that for me, it's like finding my own way and adapting it to what I have learned over the years. And I realized it's only going to the basics for that work, like doing that, not focusing on the end goal as such. I know some teachers, they say like, just focus on the end goal and leave it from there. But doing the basics from my future self, from the person I'm aiming towards, and getting into that mode. It's not like, oh, I need to get there. It's I'm already there, but doing the basic. And one simple example could be like, for example, in martial art, you keep repeating the same movement over and over and over again. And if you get bored with that, good luck for your journey in martial art. Because guess what? You're going to repeat the same movement, and each time there will be something new. But if you state from your future self, whatever your journey is, and you do that move, there's a change in your energy. So if you focus just on the basic, let's say you have a goal in fitness, for example, and you go to the gym and you take it and you do the exercise from your future self, you embody that, you set that intention going. Guess what? Like your workout will change. You will have a different feeling. And it won't come from that, oh, I'm not yet there. And you won't be looking around because you will be focusing on your own energy, because maybe your future self just focus on himself or herself, whatever it is. Let's say it's that goal. Well, guess what? You're going to enjoy the workout. You won't say, oh my God, I have to go to the gym or something like that. That's one example. So my takeaway is like every task or every little, like maybe cleaning, for example, it's like from my future self, which I call it the now self, like it's already now. It's no more like in the future. And I ask myself, like, whatever I'm doing, is it aligned with where I want to be or I'm aiming towards? And if it's not, it's not. That include people, that include situation, that include, like certain places. And I easily can say no, which took me a long time to be comfortable with that. Not to feel guilty, not to go on the guilt trip or blame myself for not doing that, but to be comfortable with that. So my takeaway is like also is like to surrender in that process, because the more you think, oh, it's in the future, then I'm like, no, I'm not in the now. So it's like focusing on the now, and it helps you to focus on the now, to enjoy every single task that you're doing. And that's what I noticed. The more I did it, the more I let go, I was more calm, more at peace, more joyful, and free, absolutely free. Because it's like you go to that point where you couldn't care. You're like, whatever is happening for my highest good. And once that ingrained in your brain and in your body and you embody that, you don't worry about anything. You don't have time to worry, actually. You don't have the thought that's coming through. And that demand practice, just like everything that we do. Because for me, when people are, like they say they have been experiencing, let's say, anxiety or depression, well, in a way, you have been practicing that thought over and over again. That's why it has become reached that point where you feel anxious about it, because you're constantly thinking about it, you're constantly giving it energy. So it's about shifting. If you have time to worry, you have time to create and to believe and to have faith. The same amount of time, the exact minute, like if you take like the whole day to worry, take the whole day to be grateful. Take the whole day to be grateful and try it. If it's too hard, 1 second, then the next second. Some days that's the feeling. But to have, for me as well, like throughout the podcast, what we realized that the guests that came in, whatever lesson we had to learn on that day, it was like spot on. And that's a big faith in the divine that whatever needs to be revealed, the bigger picture we don't see. We don't know fully. Yes, we can have a glimpse of the possibility of it. Because now in the quantum field, we know that there's infinite possibilities that you can create. And it doesn't guarantee that, because every time you take a new decision, every moment you're taking a new decision, which means it's creating a new reality. I'm sure my dad can give a whole lecture, a whole hour on about that because he has more research base. But he can contribute to that because I feel that will be a good episode as well to talk about the quantum field because it's becoming so popular, and with AI as well. It's like how to use it effectively, not to feel like it's a threat. We can look at it both ways, like when the internet came in, everyone was some people say it's a threat. Guess what? Nowadays we are so connected that we feel disconnected to our true self. And everyone is like looking to go back to the old school, like disconnect to reconnect. I saw that a few times in the past few months, like how to disconnect to reconnect with yourself. And for me, like surrender will be the word of 2024. That will be my word. Definitely. To trust the divine has been a huge lesson, and letting go of old past life, because I do believe in karma. And from my cultural and for me, like karma is like it's a physics law. Like for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. My dad will be so happy because I never learned that law. It's the third law of Newton's law of motion, if I'm not mistaken. So he will be super proud of me saying that. So don't quote me on that because I'm not so sure if it's true now. But I know exactly how it sounds. But I do believe in karma as well. And paying the debt of it, sometimes it feels draining. Sometimes it feels like, uh, like it's the end of something, of a cycle. But like recently we did so we have been doing creating videos for our spiritual group based on his book for the Merchant population. So my parents have been recording them in Creole, and I've been creating those videos. And in one of the videos was about karma and how we take it gracefully, but we work on it. So we don't say, oh, it's my destiny. We don't sit with it, like we accept it. And that's what I understood from that video. It's like, actually, no, you work on it, you work towards it, you work with it, with the grace of your God, the universe or your angels, whatever you believe in. And that's what I understood as well this year is like, yeah, it's not like, oh, it's my destiny. Then it's like, oh, okay. So surrender, like it's not in those terms. When we say surrender, it doesn't mean like you give up. Because sometimes when people working with clients this year as well, whenever I say surrender, they say, oh, you mean like I should give up to whatever is happening? I say, no, you give up the control of trying to control everything because you're not in control. It's an illusion. If you think you're in control, then you're not. And you have to like give that power away, which take a huge weight off you if you think about it. You give that power away and you just, like you work on yourself, like you were talking about that inner work, that personal development. And if you are finding it hard, connect with people like Tina, like she's starting the vision of you, and focus on the new vision of creating that vision that you always wanted, not what your parents told you maybe, or someone else told you, someone who inspired you, but what you truly want. And that's what I feel is like we are afraid to work on those karma, like because it has been misused, for example. And to face those fears, once you face them, you go through it and you don't beat around it, then you will see your karma change. Because karma means when you're doing good, good come back to you as well. And it's similar when we say whatever you give out, come back to you. So if you're giving out love and compassion, that's what you will see in the world. So I feel like every, like we say, like there's different cultures, different language, that the core message, if you focus on just one message and just focus on one teacher, for example, for a while, and you stick to that, your life will change. Like, because there's that term spiritual hopping, where people are going from one teacher to another and they are not changing. They're not doing the work. So I'm inviting everyone, if you know someone or you have been the person like this, well, take a step back and see what you have learned and focus on one word. Maybe it's just like for me, the word was surrender, that's all. If that's the word, you can expand on it in your mind or writing it down and choose another word for next year. Like for me, next year, the word I set was joy. For now, like that's the word I'm looking forward to, is like finding joy, be joy, like in everything that I'm doing, in every single task that I'm doing. And like my guru always say, like every task you're given, do it to your 100%. Like even if it's cleaning, do it to your 100%. And the more you do that, the more you develop your willpower to do that. And the more you're developing this energy in your spine and your kundalini, like it's all related. Everything is related. So that's oh yeah, 15 minutes. Done it. We reach it. Finally. Are we going to do that?
Amazing. I think so, but I think it's a good practice, right? If we've had a look at the word that we feel was a key driver in our life this year. But I think it's really important to provide balance to that word. So what were all the great things that came from that word? But also what were the lessons? What were the big key takeaways? Because as we know, we see things in singularity, but this life is a duality. So we need to have a balanced vision of what we're actually looking at. So, and also to understand that the word that you choose next year, what are the great things that, what are the other words that come from it? So for me, mine feels like expansive is a good word for me. Actually, great word, excellent word, how magnificent word. Because it literally feels like, the coats come off and all the light is no longer being hidden in the cupboard. And it's like, well, this is me. Like, if you don't love it, that's great, because then you're not my people. You're not my type of human. So it will be a moment to take a sit and have a think about what is expansive mean in all the areas. I think you need to really, truly look at every single aspect of your life, whether it's finance, career, relationships, family, how you relate to the outside world, what that looks like, what are the things that you want to go and try or experience, and have an attitude of yes. I think
Yep.
when opportunities come to you, have an attitude of yes. Don't come up with all the reasons why you can't do it. Have an attitude of, how can I make it happen?
Yep.
And how many more opportunities will come when you open yourself up. But it's so important, I think, and as we both choose to do, is to see the divinity in other people, whether they are our cup of tea or not. They are doing life in the way that they know best or see best. Doesn't have to align with you, but we just have to recognize that we are each the personification of the divine great consciousness, however you choose to look at it. But especially in this season, and I know a lot of people harp on about it, is just be kind. Like if family dinner with people that you haven't seen all year and you manage to get to sit down and sit around a table, be kind, because you have no idea what goes on behind their door. You don't know what they've been through. And unless you're prepared to sit down and actually ask some honest questions about, what was your big key takeaway from this year? You know, what's the one thing that you've learned about yourself? Instead of asking people about the weather and their kids and their job, ask them some interesting questions. And I think you might get some interesting answers. And Christmas dinner might be a little bit more exciting than what you had set it up to be. But set an intention that it's going to be great, and it will be. Don't set the intention that your mother-in-law drives you mental and, you know, you don't like your brother, or whatever it happens to be. Give them all love, and you will be surprised at the reaction that you get back. So I think that is us for this
Today.
little reflective episode, a short and sweet moment in time from both of us. And as always, it's divine to catch up with my very good friend, and we will look forward to the next time that we are taking a moment to sit and reflect on the year, and also what we're hoping for 2025 and what has already come to pass. We're just moving through it. So do you have anything last minute, my good friend, that you would like to throw into the bucket?
It's just like think of the word for you, like for what was the word, or even 3 or 5 words for 2024, and think what's coming next for you, and just leave it open. Like yesterday we had group coaching and we were talking about it. Like the coaches were saying like, oh, I don't have a, I have several, and I said go for it. Not just go whatever come up, because it's not like if you're going to think about it, then I'm like, no, just stop it. Just stop it. Just feel it. Whatever is coming up, whatever the word, one of them was flower. That was her word. And I was like, it's beautiful. No need to overthink it. Just be, I just enjoy it. And that's how it felt for 2024. And now they are looking forward for 2025. And we are as well, and looking forward for next week Christmas special, and having fun together, and keep growing as a podcast and coming with new guests. So I'm looking forward for that as well. But thank you for this year.
Thank you. To you too. It's been grand. So much fun. It's always a joy and a pleasure. It's never one of those things that you feel that you have to do. It's always, haven't spoken to my friend, come on, let's get this party on. And we've had some of the most divine humans, I think, sit on the couch with us and share their vision of what life could look like when you accept who you are and live it to the fullest, despite what anybody else might think. So from that point in time, we will wish lots of love to you in this amazing festive season, whether it is freezing cold or startling hot like it is here in Australia at the moment. Thank you for your most precious gift, which is your time. And we look forward to having you on the couch with us next week when we get to discuss all things sparkly and tinsely and good food. So until then, take good care and we will see you next week.
Well, see you. Thank you.